What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and today we continue to talk about the excitement around the 2025 draft class, the new core, the new regime here with Aaron Glenn and Darren Moji, and specifically, I want to talk about what I think could be a very interesting new combination for the green and white this year, focused around our second-round draft pick, Mason Taylor, okay? Listen, going into the draft, everyone knew tight end was a need area. Some people thought they were going to spend number 7 on Tyler Warren. Some people thought via trade it could have been guys like Kyle Pitts or Dallas Goedert or even Mark Andrews. But no, we used our second round pick on Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU, and I think he is a great fit for a number of ways. Not only his skill set as a tight end, but the character he brings. Listen, Mason Taylor as a receiver only had one drop in 79 targets last year at LSU, okay? Remember how the Jets drafted all SEC guys? LSU tight end Mason Taylor is one of them. He's also the only LSU tight end ever to finish with over 100 receptions and over 1,000 receiving yards in his career. 68% of his catches went for first downs. I think that profiles as a kind of clutch player, as a red zone target, and as a security blanket, and we will get into that, how he could be that for Justin Fields in a little while. Remember, Aaron Glenn, in a previous episode of Jets Latest, I told you, has that kind of versatility. He prided himself on being able to be a blocker and a receiving threat. Listen to what Mason Taylor himself had to say about his ability to kind of do a lot of different things for the Jets. Being an impact player to the Jets organization is going to be huge for me. I'm a guy that's going to make plays in pressure situations and takes pride in being an every down tight end. I'm a guy that's going to be the answer for the pass game and the run game and make plays all over the field. That's what you like to hear. And remember, I've told you about this. The bloodlines run deep with Mason Taylor, right? He is the son of Jason Taylor, Hall of Fame pass rusher for the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. He is the nephew of Hall of Fame middle linebacker Zach Thomas of the Miami Dolphins. And check this out. Jason Taylor, a Hall of Fame NFL player, said this about his son. Mason's all about that ball. He loves football. He loves working at it. He's not big on all the auxiliary stuff that comes around it, okay? Again, I think that is a fit for the culture that we are talking about with Aaron Glenn. The versatility we described, the hard working we described, being all about football. And you know what's funny? Jason Taylor was actually on the Jets roster the last time the Jets played in a playoff game, all the way back in 2011. So I really think, like I said, that he's going to be a security blanket for Justin Fields. And here's the deal. We knew that tight end was a need area, and I really think having a guy like Mason Taylor is going to really help Justin Fields. Check this out. People are talking about Justin Fields developing as a passer. We saw him in off-season workouts, looking with better footwork, better mechanics, looking beefed up. There's a lot of people that think he's going to continue to take a step forward in his development, but he was always pretty good when throwing to the tight end. Check this out. In his last full year was a starter with the Bears. Look at what his stats were and where they ranked in the NFL, throwing to the tight end specifically. He had a 112.3 passer rating throwing to the tight end. That was 7th best in the NFL, well over his 86.3 overall. He had almost a 76% completion percentage throwing to the tight end, 13th best in the NFL, well over his 61% elsewhere, right? And 8.31 average net yards per attempt. That is 12th in the NFL. And then, like I said, he's continuing to develop as a passer, okay? Since his rookie year, where he threw for 59% completion percentage, that number, that statistic has gone up every single year Fields has been in the NFL, up to last year, where he had a completion percentage of 66%. And I'll tell you, league average is 65.3%. Okay, so he was actually better than the league average last year in terms of completion percentage, continuing to develop. And remember, he's going to have good weapons, and he is going to have, in my opinion, one of the better, younger offensive lines in all of football. That obviously makes a difference. Look at what it did for Jared Goff in his second spot. Look at what it did at Baker Mayfield when the organization rode around him for his second stop. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that Fields is going to continue to develop as a passer, continue to build on that slightly above average completion percentage, and he has his security blanket in the second round draft pick, Mason Taylor. So I think that is really important. Here's the other thing. We talked about it earlier in the week, right? Jordan Travis, announced his retirement. No, we didn't draft Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart, or anybody like that. We know Aaron Rodgers is still in the darkness, pretty much holding the Pittsburgh Steelers hostage. However, the question is, could the Jets have maybe found their new developmental quarterback, their new project quarterback, and they didn't even have to spend a draft pick as an undrafted free agent? And I think the answer could be yes. This is a guy, I'm talking about Brady Cook, out of Missouri, a guy to keep an eye on. We've talked about the draft picks a lot. I'm going to talk some about some of the undrafted free agents in the next couple of episodes here on Jets Latest. And we start with someone who I really believe could be QB3 for this team. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor is the backup, a good veteran that's going to help in the locker room, one of the only guys that's 30 or above in this locker room, will be good for Justin Fields, will be good for the culture. There's a reason Aaron Glenn kept him. But Brady Cook, I think, has a shot to beat out Adrian Martinez and be the number 3 quarterback on this roster. 6'2", 215 pounds. Check this out. He was a 5-year starter at Missouri, a 2-time team captain. Again, those same traits Aaron Glenn is looking for, right? 2-time team captain. Just like Kiko was a 2-time captain at Miami, just like Malachi Moore was a team captain at Alabama, right? In that time at Missouri, he threw for 9,251 passing yards, 50 touchdowns, completing over 66% of his passes. Here's the other thing. He was a dual threat guy as well. He ran for 1,262 yards. He ran for 21 touchdowns while at Missouri. Last year, in 12 games with Missouri, he threw for 2,500 yards, 11 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. So that touchdown to interception ratio is something that is really, really good. His turnover-worthy throw rate, a stat over at PFF, was only 1%. That was one of the lowest in the country. In the NFL, the average is 2.5%. So he took care of the ball. He ran for over 200 yards. He ran for 5 touchdowns. And here's the thing. I think it's important for your backups, eventually long-term, to have the same style of play as your starting quarterback. We know Justin Fields is a dual threat, and Brady Cook really impressed at the combine, being one of the more athletic quarterbacks that were there. He ran a 4.6 in the 40. Okay, that was in the 88th percentile. So he can run. He had a 9.7, what they call relative athletic score. Okay, that was 30th best among quarterbacks since 1987, for goodness sakes. Out of almost 1,000 quarterbacks they've been doing this stat for, he was 30th, okay, in the last, 35 years, for goodness sakes, okay? So you put there another kind of dual threat, agile, mobile quarterback, and what that allows is being able to keep the playbook the same. God forbid something goes down, right? And you need to bring Brady Cook into action, okay? But the other thing is here, and I've said this again, it also signals they're all in on Justin Fields. Okay, they didn't go ahead and have a high draft pick. They didn't go ahead and bring in a guy like Joe Flacco or Jameis Winston. We're all in on Justin Fields, and part of building around him is having the archetype of backup that is the same. So the playbook is the same. The scheme is the same. What you are trying to do on offense is the same. Brady Cook started 47 games for the Missouri Tigers, okay? Leadership, captain, having that kind of escapability, dual threat ability. Oh, and by the way, who was protecting him on the offensive line for 38 of those starts? Yeah, Armand Membu, also out of Missouri, right? So I do think that is interesting. That'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. Remember, Mason Taylor and Justin Fields are going to be a great combination. Mason Taylor, already third down guy in the clutch with great hands, with great bloodlines. Justin Fields throws well to the tight end. That security blanket will be there when he's not looking for his college teammate, Garrett Wilson, when he's not running behind a good offensive line or giving the ball to Brees Lightning in this offense. And keep an eye on Brady Cook. I think he is an undrafted free agent who the Jets saw and may develop into their third quarterback at a relatively cheap price beneath the backup veteran, Tyrod Taylor. So keep an eye out for this. We will be back more on Jets Latest throughout the week. Please like this video, subscribe to the Jets Latest channel, tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend. I am here every day giving you the real on what you need to know about the green and white. And if you want to hear more from me, you could always follow me on Twitter, on social media, at Spittin' Speeds, and I am the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on SiriusXM Channel 87, the Fantasy Channel. We talk more than just Jets. It's the Fantasy Channel. We're focused on fantasy football, fantasy baseball. We've got the NBA playoffs going on, and FTN Fantasy is a great fantasy data website. Gives you all kinds of tools, simulations to help you win your fantasy leagues and win that cash. Absolutely. So go ahead and check that out as well. But if you're tuned in here for the Jets, go ahead and engage with me in the comments. I like to respond to you. Follow me on Twitter, and we will be back tomorrow for another edition here on Jets Latest. We'll continue to talk about what we are doing, building the culture, and I'll give you some more looks at undrafted free agents who I think maybe have a shot at cracking the 53-man roster when we actually get to training camp and beyond. It is an exciting time to be a Jets fan. The arrow is pointing up. There is a vision. So come on down with the gravy train right now here on Jets Latest. It's going to be a great season for the Jets, 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 Jets. We'll see you tomorrow. We out of here.